Good evening, everyone. Legislative Day number 14 will now come to order. Please rise for a solid moment of meditation, and let us also remember the great service from Senator John McCain. Thank you very much. I'll now call upon Councilman Crandall to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the journals for the meeting from August the 6th?
No.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The journal is approved. Enrollment of bills. Bill 55-18 was passed by the council, signed by the county executive, and hereby enrolled. Mr. Secretary, will you now read the bills for introduction?
Bill 65-18, bariatric medic units. Bill 66-18, Honeygo area panhandle lots. Bill 67-18, regulation of park activities. Bill 68-18, stormwater management. Bill 69-18, property tax credits. And Bill 70-18, property tax credits.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The council will now consider all bills for final reading and vote. Mr. Secretary, first bill, please.
Bill 58-18, active threat and assailant program.
Chief Price.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of federal funds totaling $48,399 to the MIMS Active Threat Active Assailant Grant Awards Gifts and Grants Fund program. The funds will be used to purchase safety equipment, which is ballistic and medical gear, and to train county first responders and the fire department in order to prepare, respond, and mitigate active threat incidents.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 58-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 58-18 is passed. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 59-18, summer program and community arts development.
Ms. Cohen.
Good evening, Chairman Jones, members of the council.
Good evening.
The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of state funds from the Maryland State Arts Council totaling $4,585 to the Summer Program and Community Arts Development Gifts and Grants Fund. This increases the amount appropriated to the actual amount of the grant awarded. Of the total funding, $2,500 will be used to provide Baltimore County Commission on Arts and Sciences staff with professional development opportunities, and $2,085 will be used to support local arts activities such as performances, exhibits, and workshops through project grants to community-based nonprofit arts organizations.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Are there any questions from the members? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 59-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 59-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please. Thank
Bill
you. Ms. Cohen.
62-18 is sponsored by Councilman Marks, parking in West Towson.
Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. Section 409.8 of Baltimore County zoning regulations provide that a parking space for a non-residential use may not be closer than 10 feet to the right-of-way line of a public street, excluding vehicle overhang. This legislation proposes to apply this requirement to residential parking in any area located in the Towson Community Plan west of Bosley Avenue. This bill is supported by the West Towson Neighborhood Association and should reduce impervious surface in an area that has drainage issues.
Any questions? No speakers. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 62-18.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye. Ayes have it. Bill 62-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Bill 64-18 is sponsored by Councilman Marks. Honeyghost Sub-Area Limits.
Councilman Marks.
Thank you. Bill 6418 removes from the eastern sub-area limits the requirement that prior to the issuance of new authorizations in this sub-area, sidewalks are to be extended along the south side of Joppa Road from Ryan's Way to Honeygo Boulevard. It retains the infrastructure requirements along Gerst Road in this area. I explained at the work session why this requirement is almost impossible to meet. There's no space between the road and a stormwater pond in this particular area, so I think we're correcting a quirk in the existing law.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve amendments to Bill 64-18?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, before you get the motion, if I can just indicate for the record there, the amendment is sponsored by Councilman Marks, and it is simply a technical amendment to correct the name of a street that is mentioned in the bill.
I'll move it.
It's been moved.
I'll second. Thanks.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendments to Bill 64-18.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Amendments to Bill 64-18 is passed. Is there a motion to approve Bill 64-18 as amended?
I'll move it.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 64-18 as amended.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 64-18 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next item would be the fiscal matters, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on August 28th. The witnesses who testified at the work session are available to restate their testimony if needed. If a council member has any questions regarding a particular fiscal matter, that item will be discussed as a separate matter. I'll now call upon the Secretary to read the cover letter for fiscal matters 1 through 5.
Fiscal Matter 1 is a contract with Bayland Consultants and Designers Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 2 is a contract with Blackjack Trucking, LLC. Fiscal Matter 3 consists of 2 contracts for in-home respite care for homebound seniors. Fiscal Matter 4 is a contract with All the Best Care Assisted Living Incorporated. And Fiscal Matter 5 is a contract of sale with John and Marlene Coomer.
Any questions or concerns from the members? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll for fiscal matters 1 through 5.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Fiscal matters 1 through 5 are approved. We will now consider all miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
First item is a notification from the Director of Budget and Finance regarding contracts over $25,000 that are awarded by a process other than a formal competitive bid. Those contracts are required to be announced at the Council's legislative meeting. There are 7 contracts this evening. Keystone Precision Instruments, $43,506. L3 Communications, $367,360. Capital Lighting and Supply, $114,470. Rexel USA, $57,832. Lighting Maintenance Incorporated, $122,974. Ecotone Incorporated, $128,240. And Verizon, $159,346.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Next item, please.
Resolution 73-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. This is a resolution to approve the review of a proposed planned unit development.
Councilwoman Allman?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a planned unit development on a commercial corridor, Reisterstown Road. Some of the amenities for the community are walking paths and connectivity.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 73-18?
I'll move it.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 73-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 73-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 74-18 is sponsored by Councilman Crandall. This is a resolution to approve the review of a proposed planned unit development.
Councilman Crandall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution 7418 would approve the review of a planned unit development in the Essex area on Old Eastern Avenue on a corner known as Josenhan's Corner. It's an underutilized piece of property along an underutilized stretch of road, so we're hopeful that with all the other efforts going on in Essex that this project would infuse some life into kind of a stagnant corridor. The project is 84 rental units for seniors 62 years and older with related amenities. The various community associations and civic organizations surrounding the site have voiced their support for it. There have been covenants that have been negotiated where these units must remain senior units, senior living units for 40 years, and a community benefit in the amount of $60,000 to be used in and around the property was also negotiated. So I appreciate my colleagues' support on this.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 74-18?
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 74-18.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 74-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
point of information for the Secretary. Do our rules allow for a member of the council to make a motion that the vote on Resolution 7518 be considered for all of these bills through 9118?
Our rules, unfortunately, require a separate vote on all these items, Mr. Catch.
Okay. So we would need to change.
We have done so with the fiscal matters, as you've noted, but
Right.
so far we've been unable to handle that one. Yeah.
So we would have to change the rules.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be quick. Okay. Moving right along. Resolution 75-18.
Resolution 75-18 is sponsored by Councilman Crandall. This is a resolution to approve the refund of taxes collected from David May, who is a disabled veteran.
It's my honor to move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on 75-18.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Ayes have it. Resolution 75-18 has been approved. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 76-18 is sponsored by Councilman Catch. This is a resolution for Leslie P. Dowling, refund of taxes for a disabled veteran.
It's my honor to move Resolution 7618.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 76-18.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 76-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 77-18 is sponsored by Councilman Crandall, refund to Raymond F. Monk, Jr., a disabled veteran.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 77-18.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Resolution 77-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 78-18 is sponsored by Councilman Jones. Refund to Robert J. Green, a disabled veteran.
It's my honor and privilege to move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll of Resolution 78-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 78-18 has been approved. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 80-18 is sponsored by Councilman Jones. Refund of taxes to Anthony E. Miller, a disabled veteran.
It's my privilege to move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll of Resolution 80-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 80-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 81-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. Refund of taxes to Sylvia B. Eister, who is a blind person and entitled that exemption under state law.
It is my privilege to move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on Resolution 81-18.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 81-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 82-18 is sponsored by Councilman Jones. Refund of taxes to Michael A. Matthews, a disabled veteran.
It's my privilege to move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 82-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 82-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 83-18 is sponsored by Councilman Crandall. Refund of taxes collected from Alvin Stone, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 83-18.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 83-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 84-18 is sponsored by Councilman Jones. Refund of taxes to Wayne Hebron, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 84-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Alman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 84-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 85-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. Refund of taxes collected from O'Neill Johnson, a disabled veteran.
It is my privilege to move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll of Resolution 85-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 85-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 86-18, sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. Refund of taxes to Henry McCoy, a disabled veteran.
It's my privilege to move it.
I'll
Second.
second it. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 86-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 86-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 87-18, sponsored by Councilman Quirk. Refund of taxes collected from Jonathan Chung, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on Resolution 87-18.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 87-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 88-18, sponsored by Councilman Quirk. Refund of property taxes collected from James Kiley, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on Resolution 88-18.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 88-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 89-18, sponsored by Councilman Jones. Refund of taxes collected from Thomas Rainier, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 89-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 89-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 90-18 is sponsored by Councilman Marks, refund of taxes collected from Richard Graves, who is a blind person.
It's my honor to move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 90-18.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 90-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 91-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman, refund of taxes collected from John Jackson, who is a disabled veteran.
My honor to move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 91-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 91-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 92-18 is a resolution to approve applications for the sale of development rights easements on property located on farms in the county. This is for introduction only this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is there any further business coming before the council?
There is no further business, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned. As is customary, anyone who has signed up prior to the meeting with the secretary is allowed 3 minutes to speak. And we have a list of 5 people speaking. So at this time, I'll call up members to speak. You have 3 minutes. Leslie Grant. Good evening, Ms. Grant.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I'm here tonight because my schedule won't permit me to come to a work session or a meeting until probably November. I would like to bring your attention to Old Bosley Road. I live in North Baltimore County, and I first want to thank Joanne in Councilman Catch's office. She's been wonderful with the emails and trying to find out who can help resolve this issue. I believe it's a public safety issue. I sent an email, a follow-up email to the Department of Public Works this morning. However, this email stream began in August after a July storm, and I noticed that some areas on Old Bosley Road had not been repaired, and I was concerned for safety reasons. The bottom line is, I believe that shared jurisdictional areas between the county and the city need have room for improvement regarding communication and coordination. I will tell you, you have some pictures, and the pictures don't tell half the story. It was really hard for me to get those because if you know the road, you can't stop on that road and take pictures, so I had to enlist my son. So the initial email regarding the felled trees, the lines that as of Friday were still tied to the guardrail from a storm in December, from Joanne, she sent to the appropriate person who responded, we have investigated Dr. Grant's concerns and found that the area in question is owned and maintained by Baltimore City. Their offices can be reached at blah, blah, blah. So on August 24th, the same individual says, we have investigated Dr. Grant's concerns and determined that our highways district forces cannot clean up the 2 trees until Verizon has repaired their lines, as the line is currently tied to the guardrail since July to keep it from impeding traffic. However, after speaking with Verizon, we found that their work is contingent upon Comcast replacing the damaged pole. So this has been going on since July. At first, it wasn't a county issue. I've spoken with people in the city who told me to call BG&E. So initially, BG&E was the issue, and then it was Verizon, and now it's Comcast. There was a denial that there are trees that are, or debris and logs on the shoulder of the road. I have a picture showing that they are clearly on the road, they are clearly on the guardrail, and the guardrail is tethered. There is a large picture, and it still doesn't do justice to this uprooted, very large tree that's adjacent to some boulders. And I see it as precarious. I'm not an engineer. If the engineers say it's fine, it's fine. But I see it as precarious. I'm doing this just as a citizen who uses Old Bosley Road out of concern for safety.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grant.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. John Torsch. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman Jones and
Good
members
evening,
of the
sir.
council. Thank you all for allowing me to speak. My name is John Torsch. I am the co-founder and the director of special programs for the Daniel Carl Torsch Foundation. My mother and I founded our organization in mid-2011 after my younger brother Dan died of a heroin overdose in 2010. He died in Baltimore County. I wear a lot of hats. So I'm also the Family Peer Support Specialist for Maryland Coalition of Families that serves Baltimore County and Harford County, which basically means I counsel families in crisis. I help their families find treatment for their loved ones. I help them navigate the system, basically empower them to make the tough decisions. Our organization, our nonprofit, we place people into treatment. We pay for co-pays. We pay for recovery housing, clothes, food, kind of going the extra mile to help them get to where they need to be. In the last couple years, Baltimore County has made some really great strides to help us combat the addiction epidemic that's just absolutely destroying our community. But we can do better, and we need to do better. Recently, I was appointed the committee of the new ROSC, which is the Recovery Oriented System of Care, which is basically a committee that brings together all of the advocates and nonprofits and treatment providers and people that are in the street trying to make a difference in Baltimore County in the addiction epidemic. The number one goal and the number one resource that we're lacking in this county is recovery housing. We need recovery housing. Because of what I call it the old Towson frat house rule, it's a zoning problem. Right now, you can't have more than a few people unrelated under one roof in Baltimore County, and what I'm here to do is ask the council to consider an exemption or an amendment to that law that would allow state-certified houses, which fall under MCOR, which is the Maryland Certification of Recovery Residences, that follows a national standard called NARR. So these are the highest quality recovery houses, sober living houses, halfway houses, whatever you want to call them. It's the highest standard that you could possibly have. Right now, we have some great treatment centers in Baltimore County, but the people that go to these treatment centers are forced to live in Baltimore City. These are members of our community. We had 367 fatal overdoses last year in Baltimore County. We had over 1,500 non-fatal. I also share our time on Baltimore County's Fatal Overdose Review Board, so I know how bad this problem really is. The one thing that I have a whole laundry list of things that we need in this county, but if I could just make one plea to you that what would really make a difference in helping combat this epidemic is allowing us to have quality recovery housing in Baltimore County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. If you don't mind. Real fast, first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Torsch, for all you're doing to better our community and help people in need. Am I confused? I thought something that was licensed by the state would supersede our regulations?
I think the housing units that are licensed by the state are protected under federal law, actually. I don't think we can prevent those facilities from coming into the county. I'm not sure the gentleman is referring to the same type of housing.
This is not something that's licensed by the state as a therapeutic or clinical facility?
Not necessarily, no. There are certifying agencies that oversee the houses, but from my understanding, it's basically an approval to open a house in whatever county you're going to open it in. Like this isn't a group home, this isn't an adult assisted living home. It really, from my understanding, is kind of a gray area that no agency really wants to say it's ours. But we have a member of Baltimore County Health Department and several organizations, nonprofits and for-profit treatment centers have attempted to open certified recovery housing in Baltimore County, and they've been told point blank, no, you cannot do it. We do have several recovery houses operating in Baltimore County, but they cannot be state certified because of this law. They are not able to be MCOR or NARR certified, which means they can't receive funding that Baltimore County and BHA give to these recovery houses. So we actually have people in treatment in Baltimore County who are living in recovery houses in the city. And those houses in the city are receiving funds from Baltimore County because they're Baltimore County residents living in these houses. But we're asking people who are trying to get clean, stay away from drugs, we're asking them to do that in the same environment where they were buying these drugs. They're forced to live in the city, and all we want is to just bring them out to nicer areas of the county where they have the opportunity to thrive like so many of us are doing.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Marks.
John, I just want to thank you for the wonderful work you and your family have done in this area. John has some great ideas, big and small, and it's been good talking to you about these. One of the places that I would encourage all of us to look at is called Char Hope. It's a house in Harford County, which helps adult women get through their addiction problems. It's kind of the gold standard. And so if you ever get a chance to go up there or research it, it's Char Hope. Those are the type of facilities that I think we could be looking at as we try to deal with this issue.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are you talking about a halfway house? Are you talking about a place where people go to recover, or?
Yes, sir. They used to be called halfway houses.
Okay.
And we try to refer to them as recovery houses because that's what they are. They're people, every single person that lives in this house, they're all fighting the same battle. And the chances of success for them to find a successful recovery are much higher when they live in this communal setting, when they go to their meetings together, they have their meals together, they empower each other to keep fighting. They're also in a safe environment because people can and do use still drugs in all of the recovery houses across America. It's just sort of a part. You have people and you have addicts living in these houses, so occasionally it does happen. So it's great to have them in an environment where not only are they supervised and they have their peers around them, but they also have the protection of people who have been trained in overdose response. They have Narcan on the property, and they can be directed to other treatment. If they do overdose and relapse, they can immediately be directed to another higher level of care.
Who licenses them? Are they licensed by a state or federal agency?
They're not exactly licensed, they're certified. So as of right now, we have some great recovery houses like Char Hope, which is MCOR certified, and we also have some fly-by-night flop houses, which is what we're trying to avoid in the county, which is why I brought up MCOR and NARR, because if they do meet that certification, you know that they have the highest qualifications. They have sprinkler systems and fire exits, and they have only a certain amount of people living in that roof. They're able to meet with our peer recovery specialist, which has been a fantastic addition to Baltimore County, our mobile crisis. Right now, our peer recovery people, they can't go into any houses in Baltimore County because technically, like I said, we have 2 or 3 that are operating in Baltimore County, but they're not certified. They can't receive any of our state funds, any of the really great funding programs that we have that allow people to live for 2 months to get back on their feet. We can't have that in Baltimore County because they can't get certified here. And from my understanding,
They can't get certified because of the law that restricts so many family members. So the county won't certify them? Is that what you're saying? Or won't allow them?
From my understanding, the people that have attempted to open a certified recovery house in Baltimore County have always been told no, and they've been quoted the Towson frat house rule, and it's been more of a fire marshal issue of you can't have those many people, which doesn't make sense because we have group homes and we have adult assisted living homes in Baltimore County, where we have much more than 2 or 3 people unrelated living under one roof.
And they're not eligible for reimbursement unless they're certified. Is that accurate statement?
Not necessarily reimbursement, but they're not eligible for the funding programs that we have. It's called Maryland Recovery Net, MDRN, which is a program that allows a one-time, once-in-a-lifetime scholarship to people in recovery. It gives them 2 months of housing funding. It gives them 6 months of a bus pass. And it also gives them a once-a-month gift card for food if they don't qualify for their food stamps or if they have a problem. So it's a really incredible program that's really helping people get back on their feet. But we can't do that in Baltimore County because they can't get certified here.
Where do the funds come from for this?
For that particular grant?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's a state program.
County and state funding. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions or comments? Thank you again, Mr. Torch, for all you're doing. And I'm sure one of us will take a look at this. Ms. Lynn Miller. Sure. We thank you and all the other speakers for coming in. We appreciate it.
Going behind John is quite humbling. My name is Lynn Miller, and I'm here as a representative of Maryland Heroin Awareness Advocates, which is a nonprofit. We have chapters throughout the state of Maryland, and we help families as well, those struggling with substance abuse, with treatment options and housing. But maybe more importantly, I'm here as a parent of a young man who's in long-term recovery. He has 4 years. And I'm here to support the recovering housing aspect in Baltimore County. I find it's an integral part of treatment. We place our young people that are struggling with substance abuse in treatment for 30 days. That's an environment where they get up at a certain time, they eat at a certain time, they're told what to do, when to go to bed. After a treatment, they are put out into the real world. And this is an environment where they need the most structure and accountability that helps them to be successful. And I can tell you it was crucial in my son's recovery. He's now, like I said, in 4 years recovery and giving back, working full-time and doing quite well. I'm very proud of him, and I'd like to become proud of a lot of our other young people that are struggling, and they need all the support and help and assistance they can get. So I would like to see this in Baltimore County, which is where I am living right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller, for your advocacy on this important issue. Next, I'll call Ms. Myra Derbyshire.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Myra Derbyshire, and I am here on behalf of people living in long-term recovery and people who have or are still struggling with the disease of addiction. My sobriety date is August 25th, 2015, so I just recently celebrated 3 years sober, and I am here to tell you that that would have not happened if I hadn't had the chance to go to a recovery house. When I grew up in the county. I didn't grow up around drugs. My parents treated me. They gave me everything I ever needed and wanted. When I was in college, I experienced. I was physically assaulted by 12 men, and then a couple weeks later, I tore my ACL playing lacrosse for the college I went to, Frostburg State. I was immediately put on medicine by the doctor, Percocet, and it worked for me, and I had no idea that once I started, I wouldn't be able to stop. And it just escalated, and before I knew it, my life had completely taken a turn, and I had the opportunity to go to treatment, And I went to treatment 2 times without going to a recovery house, and I relapsed every single time. And the last time I went to treatment up in Harford County, they sent me to a recovery house, and I lived there for an entire year, and I have not picked up a drug since. When I was in that recovery house, I learned how to live again. I learned how to make my bed. I learned how to, do simple things like eat and clean and do laundry. All the things that had been stripped from me from my addiction. Also in my recovery house, I learned about 12-step fellowship, which I'm still involved with. It helped me to show up to work on time. It surrounded me with other people that were doing the right thing, and that was something I had never experienced before. And this house that I went to opened doors for me once I graduated. When I was in that house, I worked at Starbucks making minimum wage, making coffee with a bachelor's degree. And when I graduated from that house, I became the program director of the Shar Hope Foundation. And I worked there for almost 2 years. And just last week, I accepted a position with the Opiate Operational Command Center for the state of Maryland. And my life has grown immensely. But I can say that if it was not for that recovery house, and it was not for the people that supported that recovery house in Harford County, I would not be able to stand here and say that I had 3 years clean. And I probably would have been a number on, that board in Harford County for the overdoses for last year. So I really appreciate anything that you guys can do from the bottom of my heart, not just me, but everyone else who has struggled with addiction, who is in recovery right now, who has lost people. We need this. So thank you.
Well, Ms. Myra Derbyshire, thank you so much for coming in. We certainly happy to see you here and happy that you had the courage to come here and tell us about your journey, and we're happy that things are working out well for you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, I would just like to say I'm glad that you came in this evening, and sitting in that seat over there, it scares people so much that they won't come up and talk to us. So to tell your personal story to us, I think shows a lot of courage. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Roger Huff. Huff, okay.
Good evening, Chairman Jones and the rest of the council. My name's Roger Huff. I'm with Recovery Care Partner, and I also sit on a board in Howard County that has 3 recovery houses called Living in Recovery. And I also sit on the Howard County Opioid Awareness Council. And I'm here tonight to share my support for your county and some of the other people in this county that need it. To review a couple statistics, there's 131 recovery houses between Baltimore City and Baltimore County, of which less than 10% are for women. Of none support women and children. So we have a big discrepancy between homes that can support families and homes that can support individuals. The second part that I would like to identify is that we are all talking in this day and age about social injustice. So we're looking at many different reforms of people coming out of jails and prisons, and recovery houses are one of the most important parts that we have to support these people to stop recidivism. The missing link in recovery is recovery housing. The gold standard is to stay in for a year, as the lady just shared. But how do you get there with a felony record? A lot of these houses are doing expungement programs to help people. Our jails are overcrowded. Our hospitals are taxed to the max, and the missing link is recovery houses. It's not just detox and treatment, but where can they go? Where can families go to reconnect? And that's what we're missing here. We receive Recovery Network funding, and I can tell you the men that are coming there committed and willing to do the work. They're getting a job. They're paying their back child support payments. And this is real stuff that we're talking about now. This is grassroots, and we need to get some hands around it. Not in my backyard attitude. 75% of all overdoses happen inside the house. It's happening next door. It's happening in your neighbors' homes. In our county, in Howard County, the number one thing at the Chamber of Commerce is showing people how to use Narcan Imagine that. People are using drugs in public forums because they're afraid they're going to overdose. They have no place else to go. It's important that we all take up this fight, and I'm here again as a citizen from another county showing support for what's needed.
Mr. Chairman.
That's all I have.
Yes, Mr. Huff, we certainly appreciate it if you just stay right there.
Just very quickly, you mentioned that in a recovery house that it's a year is,
The gold standard
Is the gold
is to
standard.
reach a year of abstinent-based. And when I say abstinent-based, I'm talking about people that are using Suboxone, people that are using methadone, people that are underneath, a clinician's care. It's a year.
in a recovery?
That would be wonderful.
But what, okay, so,
The gold standard is to get to a year. That's kind of
year.
where you can start to begin to spread your wings a little bit,
Gotcha.
if you will.
okay.
Any additional questions or comments? Well, Mr. Huff, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the speakers for coming out tonight. And let me just say that Mr. Grant, Mr. Torch, if you could be so kind as to make sure we have your phone number. What I've done sitting here, I guess, to let you know that, your comments and concerns have not fallen on deaf ears, because this is one of the great things about local government. Unlike the federal government or the state government, citizens can come here with a concern and speak on whatever they choose. And this is how we become educated, when people come here and tell us about issues. So what I've done, just to let my members know, I've took some notes on your testimony, and I've forwarded to our Dr. Branch, who's in charge of our health department and social services, and I told him what you said and asked him, could he advise us on what the issues are and whether or not he think it's a good idea, bad idea, or whatever. So he'll get back to us. He's our expert, and we'll go from there. So if we have your contact information so that he could contact you if there's any questions. Any additional questions or comments from the members? Okay, thank you very much. This meeting's adjourned. Thanks for coming out. Everybody have a safe trip home. Thank you.